Welcome to the F.E.A.R Chronicles, False Evidence Appearing Real, where we are covering real stories for navigating burnout, bold moves, and becoming your best self. I'm your host, Natasha Agha, private practice strategist, mother of two, and recovering perfectionist. This is the space where we get honest about the pivots, the pressure, and the purpose behind it all. If you're navigating life transitions, career shifts, motherhood, or learning to trust yourself again, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
I never win anything. All my relationships end in heartbreak. I don't know enough to start my own business. You have to know people in order to become successful or move up in the world. These are stories, stories that we tell ourselves. And by telling ourselves these stories on repeat for so long, they eventually become true. If you hear something enough, you start to believe it. Whether you hear it from someone else, but oftentimes these stories are the stories that we tell ourselves. You have the power to change your story. If you don't like where you are or the circumstances that surround you, make the decision to change. It starts with a decision, and then, as we've talked about in previous episodes, increasing your awareness. This is your opportunity to change the lens in which you see your world. Again, this starts with our thoughts and shifting your perspective. Instead of asking yourself, why is this happening to me? Flip it and ask yourself, how is this happening for me? This simple shift can open so many doors for you to delve in, to flip and reframe how you're viewing things. So, for example, if your story is, I never have enough time and everything is so hard, how can you reframe that? Your new story could be, I have a dedicated amount of time to get things done, so I prioritize what's most important. It doesn't diminish the fact that there is a fixed amount of time or that time may be a constraint. But being solution focused, like prioritizing and planning to optimize your time, is a way to shift that narrative. So, back in episode 16, we talked about how we give things meaning. So, this goes for your stories and how you see things. Two people could look at the same problem or the same situation and see things completely different. It's all about perspective. So for me, an example could be, you know, closing my first business. I could have looked at it as a failure, shamed myself for it, and decided that I was not good at business and decide that I would never do it again. Or I could look at it as a lesson or lots of lessons in one and as a bridge to my second business. It inspired me to continue and take what I learned and help others in a more aligned, purpose driven type of way. So, I'm going to share with you this story because I heard this once and it really opened my eyes to how true this concept is. So, this story is about two twin brothers who were raised by a not so nice alcoholic father. The boys, grew up and one became ridiculously successful while the other becomes an alcoholic. When they were asked why they chose their path, the successful twin said, because I watched my father. And the alcoholic twin said, because I watched my father. So both twins grew up in the same house with the same alcoholic father, yet both had different views and different lives. The successful twin took those experiences and decided that he didn't want to live life that way, while the alcoholic twin took those experiences and decided to use his father's behavior as an excuse to live a similar life. The takeaway here is that your story is a choice. You can either choose to live in the past and let that define you, or take aligned action and use that as motivation to change your life and your story. You are the creator of your reality. You choose the lens you are wearing. You can't change the past, but you are always in charge of your future. If you lock in on your future present actions to get you to where you want to go, you are unstoppable. Here's a hack to use when that really can help you to start seeing more of what you do want to see. This is a very oversimplified explanation of this part of the brain. So, it's called your reticular activating system. It's responsible for filtering out like the millions of things that we see, and it helps reduce them down to only show what we want to pay attention to, what it deems important. So, if you are having trouble focusing on more positive things or your goals, start actively paying attention to the things you want. This alerts your brain, hey, this is important. So, I'm going to give you an example of this in action. So, have you ever bought a car or someone shows you a cool new car and then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere? It's not a coincidence. It is your reticular activating system at work. Those cars were always there, but you didn't see them before because they weren't important. Once it was brought to your attention, that's when you started to see them. So do the same for what you want and your goals. Shift your focus and pay attention. You can very well change your story and change your life. So, I would love for you to share what's one thing that you are shifting your attention to after listening to this episode. You can share with me on Instagram at Natasha Agha Consulting or comment below. And if you want to dive a little bit deeper, I invite you to take my 2-minute Are You the Bottleneck quiz. This will help show you to find out who or what is slowing you down. It's fast, fun, and it's eye-opening, and I will link that in the show notes below.
Thanks for joining me on the F.E.A.R Chronicles. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to like, comment, or share with someone who needs it. Want more support? Check out the links below for free resources, workshops, and how to work with me. Remember, bold moves start with small shifts. You've got this, and I've got you.